name is Charlie Cootes, and I'm elected chief for the Uchucklesaht Tribe Government, and we've been the Uchucklesaht Tribe Government for 6 years, going on 7. We became an official government in 2011, April the 1st. We negotiated a treaty for 20 years. But I started off working for the nation in 1966-67, and been with them ever since as the chief, elected chief, or appointed chief. I was born in Port Alberni, raised in Kildonan, just down the lake down here in the village for the first part of my life. Then I went up at age between 5 and 6 years old to a residential school in Port Alberni, of which I spent 14 years. Graduated in Port Alberni, went into the forest industry, worked in the forest industry for 34 years, and simultaneously, in parallel, I was the chief counselor for our nation since 1967 till present day. So it's been a long journey.
This is the lesser-known side of the rugged, beautiful west coast of Canada. Tucked in behind these vistas are the places where people are struggling to exist, with little control over their own fates. For too long, Chief Charlie Cootes has had to depend on what the outside world brings or denies him. He is a man intent on getting back some of that independence lost a long time ago.
We've spent close to 200 years trying to get where we are, to getting two governments at the table. Our elders have always told us, don't you be the people to walk away from the table.
And we started really focusing on water in the late 80s, and started again about 3 or 4 years ago. Our community gave us a mandate to pursue water as an economic development activity, a wealth generator, since we negotiated so much volume in our treaty. So the intention during negotiating treaty was to generate some wealth with our water. One of the resources that we were rich in. So we're trying to impress upon the two governments that water business, then convince the governments that exporting bulk water is possible.
The treaty enables us to practice what we've done in the past, but at the same time, it becomes a vehicle that we take and we grasp those opportunities that may arise out of treaty.
We want the government to realize that we did have a government. Our government had everything. They had people that was looking after our resources. It's important that you get to know part of the history that we have, the laws that we did have. And everything was broken by the white man. Everything.
Given that we're so close, I think it certainly encourages us to get on and try to do the final negotiations.
We got to negotiate with these guys, and I don't want them convincing you that we've got a good deal when we don't have a good deal at this point. Leading up to where we are today with our economic ventures in water, there is a history. And our history started around in the late 80s, I'll just say it in general terms, when we started making moves to protect our spiritual or sacred areas within our traditional territory. It started when we found out that the local big timber company, McMillan Bodell, started logging and laying out cut blocks within our sacred area called the Thunderbird's Nest. And the Thunderbird's Nest is a very sacred area engulfed by the 5 mountains. It has a story of mythical, the Thunderbird, which is a big part of our history, our culture, our values.
Mr. Speaker, by leave, I move the following. That Chief Councillor Charlie Cootes of the Uchucklesaht First Nation, Chief Councillor Violet Monday of the Uchucklesaht First Nation, Chief Councillor Tess Smith of the Uchucklesaht First Nation, Chief Councillor Robert Dennis, Sr. of the Hawaiiat First Nation, and Hereditary Chief Bert Mack of the Toquat First Nation be permitted to address this Assembly from the bar of the House.
I welcome Chief Charlie Cootes to the bar of the House.
Good afternoon. This is a great day. It is now an honor to be standing here in the BC legislature addressing our Monmouth people who have made this long journey to come here to be with us here today. The Monmouth Treaty is an expression of our vision of the future. It is a vision that permits us to see a future filled with opportunities. It is a vision that removes the crippling institutions of our colonial era. And it is a vision that confidently embraces a new relationship with Canada and British Columbia. It is a vision that permits us to move forward and leave the pain of the past behind. It is a vision that we share with BC and Canada that we have reached through respectful negotiations. It is a vision that has its foundation a mutual respect and coexistence. And it is a vision that we believe will improve the lives of not only Uchucklesaht citizens, but also fellow British Columbians and our country as a whole. We are neither trapped in the past nor afraid of the future. Our lands are protected to the greatest possible extent of the law. We will free ourselves of the historic burden of a bureaucracy and reclaim our historic right to govern ourselves and determine what is in our own best interests. We will have the opportunity to revive, protect, and express our language and our culture. Now that the final agreement has reached the BC legislative chambers, I hope that the governments of BC and Canada will respect what their governments have negotiated and also ratify this agreement in short order to create the first multi-First Nation treaty under the BC TC process in British Columbia. Thank you. A very exciting day for our community. It's day one of being able to govern for ourselves. I'm most excited about the fact that we will now be accountable to our people and we'll be able to pursue economic activities like we haven't been able to do before.
This is a moment that we, the Monmouth tribes, we're wrapping up a segment where we work together and successfully negotiate a treaty. After 18 years and culminating with this is what it really is all about, because you get to showcase what working cooperatively with federal and provincial governments, people in industry, people in business, for far too long we've heard it through media and everybody else, First Nations are on the sideline watching things going on, but now to be part of it. And certainly this is the exciting part about it, and hopefully other people will see the benefit of doing this type of thing.
This day is like a dream come true for our elders that have been working so hard at it for a lot of years to get to where we are today. Yeah, one of the really important things in treaty, as part of the treaty process, was the comprehensive community consultation in developing our constitution. It took us 3 years plus to develop our constitution, working with our community members, over that period. And then the development of our laws, the bringing into force of our laws on April 1st, and exploring the opportunities that we have in governance and economic development, and in finance, setting up our trusts to look after our money that we have. Treaty wasn't negotiated to answer all of our questions. It was to give us opportunities to expand, and it was a comprehensive community-based decision-making to follow treaty, and it was a majority of our people ratified the treaty. I think it was over 90%. Looking at the big picture, we didn't get all we wanted in cash or all we wanted in land or other areas, but it was something that they looked at and said, can we live with this? And that's what the vote reflected. Yeah, the big challenge, I guess, is to attract our people to come back and live in our territory and take advantage of what we've negotiated. And you look around here, and there's so much opportunity, but opportunity to become a reality takes a lot of money, takes a lot of investment of money and of time, of people's time, and commitment. And that's what we got to work on, is empowering our people to come and live off our land and, create businesses or opportunities for themselves to derive a livelihood from our traditional territory. My name is Charlie Cootes, and I'm the elected Chief Counselor for the Uchucklesaht Tribe government. Thunderbird Spirit Water is one of the economic ventures that we're working on. It's been in the works for our nation since 1990s. The source of the water is in the Uchucklesaht Tribe government traditional territories. Thunderbird Spirit Water is one of the cleanest, most refreshing water that I've ever tasted. It's very pure water. It took a long time to negotiate it. Water is a huge topic in provincial, federal, Aboriginal governments and the world issue. Thunderbird Spirit Water is going to be an economic success that is going to create more infrastructure, more accommodation. So this is a very important venture for us, and I think it's moving ahead very quickly, and we should soon see the world enjoying our Thunderbird Spirit Water.